Yo, what's up guys? This is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty. Welcome back to the channel. Many thanks to all of you who have supported me on Patreon. If you want access to exclusive and complete versions of the stories, join me on Patreon. I already have dozens of stories available there. You can even send fanfic requests. The link is in the description. Enjoy the video. Peace. Konoha. Spend for victory bootleg paradise at the start. 1 BP. Chapter 1 Uchiha Zongxuan for collection for evaluation for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory bootleg paradise at the start. 164th. Chapter 1 Uchiha Zongxuan for collection for evaluation for flowers. Next. Chapter 1 Uchiha Zongxuan for collection for evaluation for flowers. Ninja World Fire Country Konoha Village. This is a peaceful village, peaceful, safe and prosperous. At least to outsiders that's how it is. After all, it has been 58 years since Konoha was founded. Except for the Nine Tails Rebellion 6 years ago, this village has never suffered any large-scale harm. In the ninja world where wars are frequent, it can already be said to be a paradise. Safety brings the flow of people, business opportunities and capital. In the heart of Konoha there is a bank gate where people come and go. A man wearing a heavy trench coat and a unique mask walked in slowly. He was heavily wrapped in clothes, barely showing any skin. Even in this season when the weather was getting colder, it was still very strange. The mask that completely covers the face, leaving only a pair of black shiny eyes, is also very special. But the staff is not surprised. This is the world of ninjas, what they dress up is normal. So the receptionist still showed a commercial smile. May I ask what service do you need? Check to see if any money has been transferred in, and if there is, take it out. The man said calmly, his voice slightly hoarse. The receptionist starts the business with a smile. Okay, please put your passbook here. Please enter your password. It shows that a manuscript fee was transferred 3 days ago. How much do you want to withdraw? The man said in a still calm tone. All. The receptionist started the operation subconsciously, but when he saw the numbers on the passbook he was stunned. She swallowed silently and repeated, "Is it all?" "Yes." "Are you sure you want to withdraw all of them? Our bank now has interest discounts. As long as you deposit a fixed term, the interest will be very generous." "No, I want to take it all." "Okay, please wait." The receptionist regretted that he had lost a large order but did not dare to say anything more. Not only because of the man's clothes that almost blatantly told everyone, "I'm a ninja," but also because of the numbers in his bankbook. A full 10 million. Who would offend such a rich man? On the contrary, the receptionist's eyes flickered. Rich people. Ninjas. Good income. Seems young. "Hello, I'll prepare it for you now, please wait a moment." The words, "high quality stock," were written in the eyes of the receptionist's sister. The voice also softened a bit and the movements were even more numb. So soon the 10 million taels of banknotes were all packed into a large box. "Hello, your money has been packed. This box is given to you for free. You." "Thanks." Before listening to the receptionist's words, the man directly picked up the box, turned his head and left. Only a stunned young lady was left. "Don't you leave a contact address or something? I can go have a cup of coffee after get off work and get acquainted." The man carried the cash box and avoided pedestrians with ease. Whenever he passed an empty street corner, his appearance would always change. There are young teenagers, old people with white hair, and ladies with heavy makeup. In the end he took on the image of a boy around 6 years old. The young man's face is handsome and his facial features are like knife cuts with a bit of maturity that does not belong to this age. The limbs are slender and the height is better than that of the same age. Wearing a ninja suit that is easy to move makes it even more handsome. It's just that the slightly rich dark circles on the eyes add a bit of cuteness to this handsome. Holding a box in his hand that had changed for some time like a large vegetable basket, with a light smile on his lips, he slowly walked into the residence of the Uchiha clan. "Zongxuan, come to buy vegetables. Would you like some lettuce?" 2 kilograms. "Zongxuan, you seem to have already gone to school. How is school life?" "Okay. Haha, I feel like you're getting more and more handsome. How is it? Have you considered my Yanghua?" "Dashu, if I remember correctly, your daughter is only 3 years old this year. Aren't you only 6 years old? Little girl, hold Jinshan, this gap is just right." "Zongxuan." He waved his hands in disbelief, picked out some vegetables and meat, filled the vegetable basket, and walked home leisurely. The front foot just entered the door. The door is closed. Zongxuan's expression changed. He grabbed the vegetables and meat in the vegetable basket through the thin layer of cover-up on the ground and took out the stacks of paper money. The royalties have finally come down. I've been waiting so hard for you. Money. Do you know how many days and nights I stayed up for you? I thought you were very important in my last life, and only in this life have I found out it's true. Uchiha Zongxuan grabbed the banknotes with excitement in his eyes. System recharge me. I want Krypton Gold. Chapter 2 Little Uncle YYDs. For collection for evaluation for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory Bootleg Paradise at the start. 2/164. Chapter 2 Little Uncle YYDs. For collection for evaluation for flowers. Chapter 2 Little Uncle YYDs. For collection for evaluation for flowers. Uchiha Zongxuan 6-year-old is a first-year ninja school. His parents died fighting Cloud Shinobi spies when he was 3 years old. This is not an exception in the Uchiha clan or even the entire ninja world. The only thing special about him is Uchiha Zongxuan is a traveler. So how lucky am I to travel to Hokage? How unlucky is it to have the blood of the Uchiha family? Thinking about it, Uchiha Zongxuan wanted to cry without tears. Crossing the Hokage is a good thing, but crossing the Uchiha clan is not necessarily. It would have been better if he had traveled earlier, no matter if he traveled to World War I, World War II, World War III, or even before Konoha was founded. Even without cheat, Uchiha Zongxuan was confident that he could live well. But the problem is this year is the 58th year of Konoha. The 59th year of Konoha was the night of extermination. What is the difference between this and investing in the country in 1949? Oh well, I can still struggle for a year and I won't be finished just after passing through. But this is not much different from the direct finish. Fortunately, I still have a cheat. Open the system. Zongxuan ordered. Host. Uchiha Zongxuan. Age. 6 years old. Physical fitness. 10. Spiritual attribute. 15. Chakra attributes. Fire 21, Water 4, Wind 17, Thunder 3, Earth 2, Yin 13, Yang 5. Possess skills. 3. Body technique. 11. Uchiha Shuriken. 5. Konoha Fluid Technique. 2. Recharge 1000 W2, add 1000 point coupons. The current coupons are 1000 points. You can draw a lottery, consume 100 points at a time. This is Zongxuan's cheat. A very typical Krypton Gold system. There are 2 system capabilities, one is Krypton Gold Lottery and the other is to add points to upgrade. 10,000 taels of money can be converted into 1 point coupon. Point coupons can add attributes, you can add skills. You can also play the lottery for a change of taste. As long as you have money to recharge Krypton Gold, all problems are not problems. Kick Uchiha Madara every minute and punch Kagaya Haim. The issue is, I have no money. Zongxuan wanted to cry a little. Ninjas are indeed very profitable, but the family property left by the dead cheap parents has been used a lot in the past few years. Although the blood money is a lot, it is paid monthly and there is not much in a single month. Even if I want to make money, no one wants me for this odd job. Yes, that's the big deal. As a 6-year-old child, even if Zongxuan can show a mature and sensible look, which boss would want it? Of course, although there is not much left of the family property left by the parents, it is enough for a while. The monthly pension is enough to allow Zongxuan to go to school, practice and graduate and become a ninja who can make money. But there is only 1 year left until the night of the genocide. How can I have this time to slowly grow and make money? Even if you have the mature thinking of a traveler, you can do some unique business to make money, but Zongxuan doesn't have this capital. Fortunately, after a period of observation, Zongxuan keenly discovered a good way to make money even as young as him. That is, writing novels. This is one of the rare ways to make money without looking at age, background or connections, but only on ability. And he also has a beacon who has made a lot of money, Toad Sage Jiraiya. Except for the level of war in the Ninja World War that can call this big guy back to the village to work, the rest of the time is all in the field. Every day I am not traveling, visiting PR stutes or peeping in hot springs. It's called a sexual blessing. Obviously, just relying on the continuation of the past as a ninja is definitely not enough. The reason why he is so easy and freehand is because of his profession, fiction writer. It can be seen how profitable it is to write novels in the ninja world. So Zongxuan began to write hard, borrowing memories from his past life and modifying it into a ninja version of cool text. Relying on the pressure of life and death crisis and the speed brought by the physical fitness of the parents' inheritance. In just 3 months he first came to a book of Forbearance Breaking the Sphere, then a book of Fighting Forbearance Continent, and then a book of Forbearance. Then, all flutter. Obviously these famous novels from previous lives are incompatible with the ninja world, and the readers of the ninja world simply cannot understand the essence of these novels. Readers on the ninja world can't do it. Not worthy of such a good book. I am a transmigrator. Why is it so difficult to make some money? Uchiha Zongxuan wanted to cry without tears thinking about it, and finally set his eyes on Jiraiya, his guiding light. Then resolutely decided, learn from the predecessors. The pretend face slaps are generally attractive, and the one that people like the most is Uncle Huang. So he borrowed from Jiraiya's popular Intimacy Paradise, and opened a book. Scorching Heaven. As can be seen from the name, Zongxuan is completely planning to follow the trend and pirate Jiraiya's Intimacy Paradise like the previous life, Oreo cookies and Oreo cookies, Dove chocolate and Dove chocolate. The teacher of Destiny's Child, the direct disciple of Third Hokage and a strong competitor of 4th generation and 5th Hokage, can write a book, Intimacy in Paradise, and make a lot of money. A little Uchiha teenager pirated a copy of Xin Hot Paradise. It's reasonable to make a small profit, right? The world is as reasonable as Zongxuan imagined. Relying on the natural popularity of many people who wanted to buy Intimacy Paradise but bought Shinra Paradise by mistake, and the excellent literary talent of Young Woman by G. Young Bingo, Jin Ping Hua Mei, in previous lives' penultimate plot. In just 3 months he made 10 million taels with tears and blood. Little Uncle YYDS. System recharge me. I want to upgrade and add points. Chapter 3 Jiraiya is here. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 3/164. Chapter 3 Jiraiya is here. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 3 Jiraiya is here. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Zongxuan's face was full of excitement. 10 million taels is not a small amount. In the ninja world, ninja is already a very noble profession, and the income far exceeds other professions. As the country's top bridge building chief engineer, Dasna from the Land of Waves couldn't even get the money for a small B-level task. See the income of the ninja. However, B-level tasks are only between 8W-20W. The most valuable S-level task, the income is only 100W. 10 million taels equivalent to 10 S-level missions. Add more. Zong Tuhao Zan waved his hand. Add some physical fitness first and also mental attributes. Both the body and the mind affect the amount of chakra as well as the ability to perform physical skills and resistance to illusions. With basic attributes, 1 point costs 10 points. So the system template becomes Host. Uchiha Zongxuan. Age. 6 years old. Physical fitness. 30. Spiritual attribute. 30. Chakra attributes. Fire 21, Water 4, Wind 17, Thunder 3, Earth 2, Yin 13, Yang 5. Possess skills. 3. Body technique. 11. Uchiha Shuriken. 5. Konoha Fluid technique. 2. Current point coupon. 650 points. For a moment he only felt the muscles in his body surging as if a force was pouring out of thin air. At the same time, the drowsiness caused by staying up late to write a novel also increased with the spirit and instantly became much clearer, as if I had just woken up. The physical and mental enhancement is obvious. Of course, these Zongxuans are just scratching the surface, and they will stop after increasing their chakra amount to a certain level. The remaining coupons. Add it all to the yin chakra. Zongxuan's eyes lit up and he waved his hand. The next second the remaining 650 points quickly disappeared. The number representing the yin attribute chakra is rising rapidly. Finally, yin 78. On the system panel it's just a small number. But on Zongxuan, the next second he only felt a unique energy emerge from his mind. Through the vertical optic nerve, oculomotor nerve, and finally to Zongxuan's eyeball. A unique cold stimulation made Zongxuan gasp in breath. But instead of being surprised, he was overjoyed and quickly ran to the mirror in the bathroom. Really? In the 2 eyeballs the double hook jade reflected. Sharingan. It's still Schwangoyu. Zongxuan showed a happy smile. That's why he didn't draw a lottery but instead focused on improving his attributes. Because the Uchiha family has such a pretty good hang in itself. Sharingan is the bloodline boundary of the Uchiha family, which can open eyes and evolve continuously through strong emotional stimulation. But the so-called strong emotion affects the spirit itself. That is the yin attribute, chakra. Zongxuan guessed that relying on the system to add points can open his eyes. Tried it today and it did. Bet right. Zongxuan laughed. Uchiha with Sharingan and Uchiha without Sharingan are completely two kinds of Uchiha. Then I kept making money desperately trying to beat the younger uncle. The night of extermination may not be without a chance. Sure enough, money is a BD, he looks so good. I have to keep working hard to make money. When Zongxuan looked forward to the future happily, a tall man walked into Konoha village. He has white hair and long oil paint on his face. On the weird forehead protector there is a big word, oil, written on it. Toad Sage Jiraiya, it's been a long time since I came back. I don't think the village has changed much. Jiraiya laughed with a little nostalgia. I hope the quality of the girls in the village bath is as good as it used to be, otherwise wouldn't it make me white hits cut off my journey and run back once. Originally, according to the plan, Jiraiya did not plan to return to the village now. But he couldn't bear to find a situation in the bookstore that made the corners of his mouth twitch. Beside his masterpiece, Intimacy in Paradise, I don't know when there are a lot of books of Intimacy in Paradise. And it sells pretty well. Many readers who were planning to buy their own Intimacy Paradise accidentally bought Xin Hot Paradise because of inattentiveness. Although the content inside is indeed different, you are obviously pirating on my name. Immediately he, the great writer, couldn't help it and found a publishing house. Relying on the powerful strength in Nuota's reputation as a writer, he easily got the information of the author of Xin Hot Paradise from the publishing house. Although the registration of this information is very sloppy and not very detailed, it is suspected that it is still false. But he just glanced at the name of the collection passbook left by the author and returned directly to Konoha. Uchiha Nobunaga. Jiraiya muttered the name. He didn't know that the name was the name of Zongxuan's dead cheap dad, but he didn't plan to go to the Uchiha station to ask them one by one. What a hassle. What a price drop. As the top master of the ninja world, the high-level executive of Konoha, the famous Toad Sage, how could it be possible to target an unknown little ninja alone? So he walked into the residence of the Uchiha family without hesitation and went straight to the patriarch's house. Only the patriarch of the Uchiha clan can be considered equal to him. Chapter 4 Ask Fugaku and his son to watch the little uncle. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 164th. Chapter 4 Ask Fugaku and his son to watch the little uncle. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 4 Ask Fugaku and his son to watch the little uncle. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Uchiha, the patriarch's ancestral home. Lord Jiraiya, please have some tea. The patriarch Uchiha Fugaku smiled faintly and gestured with aristocratic elegance. Itachi next to him is full of surprises. It's not easy. Today the relationship between the clan and the village is becoming more and more tense and conflicts continue. Even the patriarch's father was difficult to control, feeling that chaos could break out at any time. At such a time Jiraiya, a well-known Konoha Iron Hokage descendant, came to be a guest, which is a great advantage. If it goes well, it can completely reduce the resistance mentality of the clansmen. Great. My efforts with Shisui-san really paid off. Unfortunately, it would be better if Lord Third Generation came in person. Uchiha Itachi didn't want to see the conflict between the village and the family, but unfortunately he worked hard for a long time, but he could only watch the gap between the two sides getting bigger and bigger. But now that Lord Third Generation has sent Lord Jiraiya, it gives him more hope. Oh, thank you. Jiraiya didn't care much about the father and son's mentality. He has been away from Konoha for too long, and although he has heard a little about the internal problems of Konoha, he doesn't know much about it. A few words of kindness with Fugaku. Fugaku said, I don't know if Jiraiya-sama came here. Oh, let's take a look at this book. Jiraiya took out 2 copies of Xin Hot Paradise and handed them over. Fugaku. Itachi. Look at the title of the book, Intimacy Paradise. Look at the picture of a man chasing a woman on the cover of the book. Combined with Jiraiya's reputation, the content of this book does not look at its own name. Little uncle. Ahem, allow me to read. Fugaku frowned. To be honest, he and Itachi are both relatively mature and stable types and are not interested in this kind of uncle who let go of himself, let alone seen it. But everyone, Jiraiya handed it over and they were embarrassed not to look at it. The two opened the book and flipped through the 2 pages. Well, very good, and guessing it really is a bunch of dirty words, unsightly. However, they still watched it hard but slowly indulged. After all, this text is beautiful. The description is vivid. Drama exciting. Make it feel like being there. What do you mean by showing my father and son the little uncle? Fugaku couldn't help but glanced at his son, who was pretending to be expressionless, but his face was faintly hot, and said with a little dissatisfaction, "What is the meaning of this, Jiraiya-sama?" He actually wanted to ask in his heart, "What do you mean by showing me the little uncle? I am the patriarch of the dignified Uchiha clan. Do I need to see this kind of thing? This kind of obscene text is also worthy of my eyes. Patriarch Fugaku, don't you take a good look at it?" Jiraiya said. "Not only let yourself see this little uncle but also want to pull in his son Itachi. Too much." Fugaku's inner dissatisfaction deepened and he snorted softly. "The Uchiha family knows honor and shame, and it is not suitable to read this kind of article." Are you sure?" Jiraiya's expression was a little weird. Naturally. Fugaku was a little angry. "Jiraiya-sama, I respect you as Konoha's hero, but that doesn't mean you can humiliate Uchiha at will. The Uchiha family is the strongest family in Konoha. Relying on the strength of blood, realize they are invincible at the same level as they should. Stepping up the challenge is as easy as the palm of your hand. Being excluded by the Konoha crowd has already frustrated Fugaku's pride. Now Jiraiya actually wants to show her uncle to her son. It is simply unbearable and unbearable." Seeing his father's anger, Itachi quickly rounded up the field. "Father, you don't know, I really like watching Jiraiya-sama's works. Your intimacy paradise is really good. I have chased everyone." In order to prevent conflicts between the clan and Konoha, Itachi gritted his teeth and planned to transform into a little weasel. "Really, I didn't expect the young patriarch of the Uchiha clan to be my fan." Jiraiya laughed heartily. The laughter made Fugaku even more angry. "Shut up, Itachi. How honorable is my Uchiha clan? How can I read such vulgar text? You are embarrassing the family." However, Itachi has not waited for it to continue his efforts to round the field. Jiraiya laughed and said, "Ha ha ha, Patriarch Fugaku, you think too much. This is not my book." Fugaku and Itachi froze at the same time. "Huh. This is mine." Jiraiya took out another copy of Intimacy Paradise and handed it over. "Isn't this a book?" Fugaku glanced at the title of the book, subconsciously stunned. "No, this is Xin Hot Paradise. Mine is Intimacy Paradise. Xn and Kn are different." Jiraiya went directly to the theme. "I am here this time for this matter. I was traveling and noticed that there were suddenly more." Jiraiya said with a smile that Xin Hot Paradise rubbed off the popularity of Intimate Paradise, which immediately embarrassed Fugaku and Itachi. Fugaku. "It turns out that it wasn't for the emperor to humiliate us." Itachi. "It wasn't the Hokage family who came to appease the Uchiha family." Cough. "So it is." Uchiha Fugaku coughed twice. "I thought you were here to humiliate my Uchiha clan with such an uncle." The Uchiha clan are proud of themselves and their hearts. All members of the clan are noble people. I don't know much about this kind of article. I really don't suit your jokes." Fugaku thought for a while and said, "So Mr. Jiraiya, do you want me to order the police department to confiscate these shameful books?" He felt that this favor could be sold and it was an effort for him anyway. "No, I meant to say." Jiraiya's expression was half smiling. "The author of this book is a member of your family." Fugaku was stunned. "My clan? Well, it's the nobles who have arrogance in their hearts, and their clan members are all noble people." Jiraiya nodded. Fugaku. Chapter 5. Go and bring me Zongxuan. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 5/164. Chapter 5. Go and bring me Zongxuan. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 5. Go and bring me Zongxuan. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. The two were stunned and it took a while to react. Fugaku blushed suddenly. He remembered what he said before. The heart is arrogant, the body is arrogant, and the words, the Uchiha family is so glorious, how could it be possible to read such indecent texts? Immediately feel ashamed and can no longer maintain the original cold and old-fashioned color. Subconsciously the toes tightened and a whole set of 3 rooms and 1 living room was directly buckled on the tatami, becoming a rare great architect of the Uchiha family. Itachi couldn't hold back his expression, his eyes twitched. What a shame. But fortunately Jiraiya didn't say much. Instead he laughed and said, "I'm here just to ask Chief Fugaku to warn your clan. Although this kind of behavior is not a crime, it is not a good thing after all. Forget this book and ask Mr. Uchiha Nobunaga not to do this for the next book. Although this is not against the law, the individual knows that such behavior is completely harmful to Jiraiya's interests. When a normal strong man encounters such a thing, he can't wait to slap each other to death." But Jiraiya didn't care and even just asked, "Don't do this next time," and it was over. In this ninja world where murder is commonplace, it can really be said that he is a good person. Okay, I'm here just for this. I think Patriarch Fugaku also has something important to do, so he won't continue to be a villain. Jiraiya laughed, left the evidence he investigated and left. Fugaku and Itachi blushed and sent it to the gate, only to go home in anger until the other party disappeared. Fugaku let out a loud roar. Check. I want to see which BD did such a shameless thing to make me so humiliated in front of others. Yes, father. ... Ninjas move very quickly. In less than half an hour it was just getting dark when Makoto prepared the meal and the family was ready to eat. Itachi also found out the results. Father, there is a result. Itachi took out a report. Uchiha Nobunaga is a collateral clan, a resident of the household clan, and his wife Uchiha Yunzi died at the hands of Cloud Shinobi spies 3 years ago. He died. Fugaku frowned. Yes. Itachi nodded. But his passbook account was not cancelled, and the money in it along with his other inheritance was handed over to his son Zongxuan. Recently this passbook account has accepted transfers of about 10 million taels, and there are several small-scale transfers ahead, which should be the manuscript fee. A large amount of money was also withdrawn from this account today. Although the person who took the money made a disguise, according to my inquiries to the surrounding clansmen, the investigation of the people near the money withdrawal today, and the correction of the bank counter staff, the person who took the money should be Uchiha Nobunaga's son Zongxuan. If it is not unexpected, this Zongxuan is the author of Xin Hot Paradise. Although Zongxuan made a disguise, he was a little ninja student with average strength. In front of the police department who really wanted to investigate, he was completely vulnerable. Although there is no evidence yet, Itachi has almost determined the culprit of this incident. Okay. Fugaku took a deep breath, clenched his teeth, and anger flashed in his eyes. I didn't expect that it was really my Uchiha clan. Zongxuan. He really gave me the face of the Uchiha clan leader. Fugaku never imagined that his own clan actually did such a thing. Don't look at the fact that writing Xiao Huangshu does not break the law, and there is no legal norm in the ninja world. But the big family in the village who is not privately ridiculing and slandering Jiraiya, who is not doing a proper job. How could a noble ninja do such a dirty thing? That is, Jiraiya's strength is here, otherwise those big families who believe in honor of the ninja still don't know how to mock him. The Uchiha family has always been arrogant, and they call themselves the founder of Konoha every day. Although the patriarch Fugaku is polite to Jiraiya, he doesn't look down on Jiraiya, who is playing with things and despairing at all. In the end, I didn't expect that it was my family who came out of the basket. How can this make him not angry? There chatting, Sasuke was taken aback for a moment, then raised his head. Zongxuan. Father, you mean Uchiha Zongxuan? Huh, you know. Fugaku asked, looking down. Well, he's my classmate and I'm in the same class. Sasuke thought for a while, then added. But his academic performance is average. Last time I was the first in the exam, he seems to be the third from the bottom. It just lost the face of our Uchiha family. Sasuke is still young and his words unconsciously show off a bit. A pair of eyes looked at his father expectantly, hoping to get some praise. But Father Fugaku didn't notice this. Instead he frowned. Wait, your classmate? Yes. How old is he? You seem to be the same age as me. 6 years old. Yes, father. Itachi understood what Fugaku was thinking, nodded and said, Uchiha Zongxuan, 6 years old this year, a first-year student at ninja school. Fugaku's expression suddenly became strange. 6 years old, 6 years old. How did a 6-year-old child write such a little uncle? What has he been through? But it doesn't matter. Fugaku took a deep breath. The question now is, as the patriarch, what should you do at this time? Punish a child as young as 6 who is legally incompetent. And he is a child whose parents all sacrificed for the village. Can't say anything. How can Fugaku, who has lost his face, be reconciled without punishment? Fugaku frowned and struggled for a long time before finally speaking. Itachi, anyway, bring him here first. Yes, father. Itachi nodded. He also understood that it was difficult to deal with, so he did not decide without authorization. Otherwise he should have brought the culprit to justice and reported it later. Sasuke blinked, watching his brother talk to his father. Although I didn't quite understand it, it seems that Zongxuan committed a crime and the elder brother is going to arrest him under the orders of his father. Big brother, let me go. Sasuke offered himself excitedly. I know where his house is, I'll help you arrest him. In this way can I help my big brother? Itachi blinked. In fact, he had already found out Zongxuan's address and he didn't need anyone's help to catch a child. But look at Sasuke's expectant eyes. Anyway, the other party is also a child, there is no danger. Okay, then this task will be handed over to you. Itachi smiled and said, let's go together, you can bring him to my father's side. Just kidding, my brother. Chapter 6 I Uchiha Zongxuan rely on the little uncle to save people's lives. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 6/164. Chapter 6 I Uchiha Zongxuan rely on the little uncle to save people's lives. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 6 I Uchiha Zongxuan rely on the little uncle to save people's lives. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Zongxuan is cooking. Although only 6 years old, poverty forced him to master these survival skills in advance. He took out the vegetables he just bought today. The leaves on the vegetables were slightly damaged and yellowed a little, so they didn't look very good. This is caused by the loss of moisture after a long period of time and various reviews by buyers. In addition, it was getting late when Zongxuan bought it and the vegetables were not easy to sell overnight, so the vegetable vendors would naturally choose to reduce the price. But in fact, as long as these vegetables are soaked in water for a while, the appearance will be much better, no worse than other dishes. A money-saving tip every day. Zongxuan sighed. As a transmigrator, it's really rare to be like him. But no way. The night of the genocide was just around the corner, and as long as he thought about it, he would be chased and killed one by one. With his bright red eyes, Zongxuan couldn't indulge himself. With this money save more, wouldn't it be fragrant for him to be linked with Krypton gold? But saving money saves money. Zongxuan did not treat his diet badly. 1 bottle of milk a day. Not only vegetables and meat but also nutritional balance must be considered every day, and even some medicinal materials need to be added every few days to serve as a medicated diet. These are all necessary expenses to become a ninja. The poor and the rich. While ninjas have huge income, they also have unavoidable expenses. Medicated bath, medicated diet, interpretation of secret medicine, military food, pills, ninja tools for training, actual combat weapon wear. That's why the blood money given by the village and the family and the legacy left by his parents are not small, but Zongxuan had to think of something extra. And just when Zongxuan had just finished eating and was about to clear the table. Boom, boom, boom. The door was knocked violently. Zongxuan frowned and opened the door. But he saw 2 figures, one big and one small, appearing in front of him. Sasuke. And Zongxuan looked at the slightly taller man. Uchiha Itachi. Any traveler of the Uchiha clan before the night of the genocide must always be on guard against the mortal enemy. Zongxuan, what happened to you? Come to the patriarch's house with me. Sasuke said rudely. What's the matter? Zongxuan said casually, but he had some guesses in his heart. Of course it's you who wrote about the little uncle. Sasuke hated that iron was not steel. As a glorious Uchiha clan, how can you write that kind of? He was a little embarrassed to speak when he was young. That kind of article. It's just embarrassing, Konoha. Shame on the glorious Uchiha clan. Sasuke's face was full of anger. On the way here I have heard the big brother explain the reason. At such a young age he was suddenly stunned. Zongxuan actually wrote the little uncle. And also despicable and shameless to rub other people's heat. Unacceptable. Uchiha clan, how could there be such a clansman who didn't study well and brought shame to the clan? Oh, that's it. Zongxuan's eyes flickered, but he didn't really think he could keep it for long. Even he himself did not expect to be able to hide the investigation of those who were interested, and he only hoped that he would not be targeted by some inexplicable thieves and thieves. At the age of 6, facing these people is still quite troublesome. Now that the brothers Uchiha Itachi came to the door, he didn't intend to argue and said directly, "Oh, I wrote it, is there any problem?" Zongxuan. Sasuke's eyes widened. "How can you write such a thing? Why can't I write Xiao Huangshu?" Zongxuan asked back. "Whenever I sell a book, at least one person will rush to my book hand. And this hand puncher may dispel the idea of infringing others to gain pleasure." "What does this mean?" "A novel on behalf of me that inadvertently saved at least 2 people, the potential aggressor and the victimized, from lowering the crime rate. I'm obviously saving others. As an excellent clan who saves others, why do you question me like this?" Zongxuan talked eloquently with a proud look on his face. I Uchiha Zongxuan saved people's lives by writing the Little Emperor. What a sin. Sasuke was stunned, but listening carefully it seemed to make sense. "So, is it a good thing to write about the little uncle? So should I arrest him?" He was stunned until Itachi, who was next to him, couldn't stand it any longer, and he coughed lightly before he suddenly came to his senses. "Stop arguing, Zongxuan. As a Uchiha clan, how can you do such a thing?" Sasuke shouted a little embarrassedly. "Obey, accompany me to the patriarch's house." "Why go?" Zongxuan asked rhetorically. "You wrote the little uncle, you did something wrong. I remember that Konoha's laws and clan rules don't say that. You are not allowed to write a little emperor. If there is, please arrest Jiraiya-sama first." You rubbed off on the popularity of Jiraiya-sama's book. There is no law that prohibits rubbing the heat, right? You. Sasuke, who was only 6 years old, opened his mouth wide but was speechless, unable to utter a single rebuttal. Chapter 7 Sharingan. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 7/164. Chapter 7 Sharingan. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 7 Sharingan. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Sasuke was dumbfounded, the boss, with his mouth open but couldn't utter a word. He had absolutely no idea how to respond to Zongxuan's words. This boy. Uchiha Itachi narrowed his eyes and looked at Zongxuan. He seemed to have long thought of his own quibble in the face of this situation enough to say that Sasuke had nothing to say. Although these few sentences seemed to be ordinary, they often hit the key points, just like the old fritters of habitual criminals caught by the Konoha security department on a daily basis. Uchiha Itachi sighed inwardly, feeling a little disgusted with Zongxuan. But even if Zongxuan could silence Sasuke's words, it would be useless. Because there is a big brother like him here. "Sasuke, hurry up," he said flatly. "Father is still waiting for us." This sentence awakened Sasuke. Yeah, what's the defense with Zongxuan? He is only responsible for bringing people to father's side. "Zongxuan, come with me." Sasuke took a deep breath and said, "For the sake of my classmates, when I get to my father I will speak for you." Zongxuan looked at Sasuke with a serious face but said nothing. But at the same time he didn't move. "Are you trying to force me to do it?" Sasuke frowned. Zongxuan said, "Then you can do it. Are you sure?" Sasuke was taken aback and his expression suddenly became strange. "You are counting down 1 grade and you want to rebel against me?" His expression was very strange, a little surprised and a little surprised. Sasuke has always wanted to perform well in front of his big brother and his father. Whether it was to show off his first place on purpose or to come here with his big brother, it was all for this purpose. But he didn't really want to do it. After all, he is the first of the year. What about Zongxuan? The third to last grade. Who gave you the confidence to fight me, Liang Jingru? Zongxuan's reaction was completely unexpected. But Sasuke didn't panic, instead he smiled, clenched his fists, and his eyes were full of excitement. "Since you want me to do it, then I'm welcome." Sasuke squeezed his wrists and said, "All right, in advance, big brother, let me hurry up, so don't blame me for pushing too hard." He looked excited. Zongxuan didn't speak, just a weird smile appeared at the corner of his mouth and glanced at him. Next second, Sasuke moves. Lunge forward, sweeping left leg. Slightly thin legs but kicked a strong wind. This trick has many changes and there are many later tricks. Legs, knees, fists, elbows. It seems ordinary, but it is an infinitely variable starting move in the standard Konoha fluid technique. Especially Sasuke's action this time is extremely standard and it is as smooth as the flow of clouds and that leg is full of strength. Genin who graduated from ninja school is probably like this. Even Sasuke was able to break through his ego by relying on the buff of Big Brother watching me behind him, and he played so perfectly. He widened his eyes and looked excitedly at Zongxuan who was getting closer. This is his peak leg, a leg that condenses all his energy. Snapped. A hand stretched out from the side and firmly grasped his ankle. To put it mildly, it's lightweight. That hand. It's Zongxuan's hand. How is that possible? How can you stop me as someone who counts down to the exam? Sasuke exclaimed. He clearly remembered the last exam he defeated Zongxuan easily. That's why when he introduced Zongxuan he shouted, Zongxuan's exam was too bad and he lost the face of the Uchiha family. How now? Zongxuan smiled slightly, his arm turned violently and then slammed down while Sasuke was stunned. Boom. A muffled sound. Sasuke was hit hard on the ground. This only happens at the flick of a finger. However, Zongxuan has no further action. Because Itachi stood in front of him. Not close but not far either. A faint pressure came, making it difficult to move. Sasuke, are you all right? His slightly stern voice was mixed with sincere concern. At the same time his hand reached out trying to pull Sasuke up. It's okay big brother, I can get up by myself. Sasuke gritted his teeth, his nose a little sore. But it wasn't a beating. This little injury was nothing to the thick-skinned ninja reserve. He just doesn't want his big brother to see his shame. So he avoided Itachi's hand, got up, gritted his teeth and said, Zongxuan, I was careless just now, let's come again. However, it was big brother Itachi who answered him. No Sasuke. You, not his match. How is that possible? Big brother, I was careless just now all. Sasuke wanted to say something but saw Zongxuan's face. To be precise, he saw Zongxuan's eyes. It was a pair of bright red eyes with two Guyu slowly turning eyes. Sharing. Chapter 8 Patriarch, please make money. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 8/164. Chapter 8 Patriarch, please make money. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 8 Patriarch, please make money. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Sharing. Sasuke was dumbfounded, murmuring, this is the bloodline limit of the famous Uchiha clan in the ninja world, and it is also what every Uchiha clan pursues. However, the owner of these eyes is his classmate. Zongxuan is relying on Sharingan to defeat himself in an understatement. However, he who ranked first had nothing. Zongxuan, who was at the bottom of the ranking, already has the Sharingan of Xuangoyu. This kind of gap made him feel a lot of blows and he was a little stunned. Eyes opened. Itachi frowned. Just now he saw that Zongxuan, who was at the bottom of the ranking, dared to fight with Sasuke and thought that there was someone in ambush behind him, such as taking this opportunity to assassinate the young master of the Uchiha clan's patriarch's family. After all, in the grades of ninja school the written test only occupies a small part and more is the actual combat ability. The lower ranking means the actual combat is weak. In the end, he didn't expect that the enemy he was guarding did not appear, but Zongxuan opened the Sharingan accurately, saw Sasuke's flaws and easily hanged Sasuke. This mistake prevented him from stopping Zongxuan's attack and injured his beloved younger brother. Eyes opened at the age of 6. This talent. Normally clansmen are geniuses and every clan would be very happy. But Itachi frowned. Zongxuan's old oily appearance just now was deeply rooted in people's hearts. Is such a genius born out of nowhere? Is it really a good thing for the family? Will the estrangement between the family and the village expand? There are many thoughts in his heart, but Uchiha Itachi still said with a blank face, Zongxuan, right, come with me. Don't force me to do it, you may not know the difference between me and you. The latter gap has not yet been exported. Then Zongxuan said with a smile, okay. Uchiha Itachi was stunned for a moment. Zongxuan, who was still an old fritter just now, why is he so good at talking now? Cough, then come with me. Zongxuan walked forward calmly. Just kidding, he's not stupid. It is possible to beat Sasuke and to beat his younger brother in front of Itachi, who will destroy the entire clan in the future, is also to give himself a sense of relief. But hitting Uchiha Itachi, if I can beat him, I'm still worried about the night of the hammer genocide. On the other hand, Sasuke froze and walked all the way, unable to wake up from the blow. It wasn't until he reached his door that he suddenly woke up. Sasuke glanced at Zongxuan, who was about to enter the door, and asked with a complicated expression, "Zongxuan, when did you awaken the Sharingan?" "Oh, about half a month ago," Zongxuan said casually, not wanting to say that he only opened it today. "Half a month ago? Wasn't that before the exam?" Sasuke's mouth twitched, his eyes shocked. "Then during the exam did you pretend to be weak on purpose?" Forehead. "Is it before the exam?" This Zongxuan really didn't expect, although he did fool around during the exam. But to be honest, even if he did his best at that time, he was no match for Sasuke. But the words have been said and he can only say, yes. "Why?" Sasuke finally couldn't help but burst out. "Why do you pretend to be weak and give me the #1 title? Are you pity me?" He worked hard to get the first place in the exam and showed off to his father and brother with confidence. It turned out to be given up. How could this arrogant boy accept this? "It's not a concession, I'm just too lazy to take the test," Zongxuan said casually. "After all, even if I get the first place in the test, it won't do me any good." "Don't you want the honor of being #1? Sasuke asked in disbelief. In his impression, there is no one who does not want to be the first. "This is an honor," Zongxuan laughed. "What's the use of glory? How much is he worth?" "Sasuke, I'm different from you. You were the son of the patriarch. You were born with superior conditions. Some people pursue honors in their spare time. If they get the first place, they can also be rewarded by your big brother and father. But for me, there is no difference between being first in the exam and last in the exam. I still need to think about what to eat tomorrow, whether I have enough money in my pocket, and how to make more money. Working hard for the first test. When I have time, I will write a little uncle to make more money. Isn't he fragrant?" Zongxuan remembered the anguish of being a traveler but could only pick cheap dishes and couldn't help but add, "Sasuke, I'm not the same as you. You have a big brother to escort you and even give you a pair of eyes to protect your bright future with your life. And I am going to be hacked to death by your big brother." Sasuke opened his mouth and was speechless again. He was dazed and in a trance, trying to refute something to prove the value of glory. But he saw his own home with bright lights and spotless ground in front of him. In his mind, when he went to look for Zongxuan, he saw a pile of bad-looking vegetable leaves after the door was opened. The patriarch's house, the reception room. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Zongxuan in front of him with an uncomfortable expression. 6 years old. Both parents died, sacrificed in business. At the same time, he is also an eye-opening genius. Fugaku sighed inwardly. Things are getting harder and harder. He is still a stereotyped face, often a source of great pressure. However, Zongxuan was still hanging around and didn't care. In the end, it was Fugaku who broke the silence. "Zongxuan, isn't it the child of Nobunaga's family? Why are you writing such nasty things?" "Reporting to the patriarch, sir," Zongxuan said eloquently. "There is no rule in Konoha's laws and clan rules that you are not allowed to write a little emperor. I think books are my freedom. But it's too much for you to rub off on the popularity of Jiraiya's book. There is no provision in the law that does not allow rubbing the heat. Although it is a bit excessive, it is not illegal." Fugaku couldn't help but shouted. "But your behavior has affected the reputation of the family. Do you know how much trouble it will bring to our clan when other people know about it? The reputation of the Uchiha family in the village is not good. If this kind of thing is exposed, the notoriety will be even greater." However, Zongxuan raised his head and sighed softly. "No way, although I know it's not good, but I also want a good meal. I want to live. The inheritance of my parents and the family's pension are not enough. I want to catch up with a genius like Sasuke with a weak talent. I can only make up for other conditions besides hard work. Medicated baths, weapons, meat. You can't miss any of them. In order to cultivate, I can only rely on myself and find a way out by myself. Who made the clan not give me enough money?" Zongxuan sighed softly, his eyes full of self-pity. Then he silently extended his hand. "Attitude, self-awareness. Stop me from writing novels. It's simple. In fact, there are only 7 words. The patriarch, please make money." Chapter 9, Krypton Gold Go. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 9/164. Chapter 9, Krypton Gold Go. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Chapter 9, Krypton Gold Go. For collection, for evaluation, for flowers. Fugaku felt as if he had eaten a fly. But he couldn't get it off. Zongxuan is too young, only 6 years old, no matter what the other party does or says. If Fugaku is really angry, then everyone will only say, the patriarch of the Uchiha family has no stomach and he actually cares about such a small child. At the same time, his family background is also very special. His parents sacrificed for the village and belonged to martyrs. Bullying the orphans of martyrs is not a good name anywhere. The most important thing is, Zongxuan did not break the law. Unlike the detailed legal system in Zongxuan's previous life, there are not so many messes in the land of fire. Rubbing heat. Play high imitation. Is this also a crime? There is simply no reason to punish Zongxuan in a big way. But Fugaku does nothing, nor does it. Jiraiya came over to deliver the message in person and Fugaku should have expressed something. Damn Jiraiya, he didn't find out Zongxuan's age and thought it was difficult, so he pushed it to me. Fugaku thought with an ugly expression. In fact, Jiraiya really didn't think much about it. In his opinion, the person who can write the little uncle is also an adult. A word from the head of the Uchiha clan is enough to solve all problems. Who would have thought that it was a 6-year-old boy who wrote Xin Hot Paradise? Fugaku doesn't know, and it is inevitable that he is a little dissatisfied. Of course, he was even more dissatisfied with Zongxuan tarnished the name of the Uchiha family and let Jiraiya come to him, making him humiliated. Taking a deep breath, Fugaku said bluntly, "Your book is too similar to Jiraiya's book and it is suspected of being a copycat." Today he came to the door. "Well, do you need me to apologize to him and say sorry?" Zongxuan's words were full of, "I'm sorry, I'll dare next time." Fugaku was almost choked with anger and snorted, "No need, dignified Sanin, I'm not interested in looking for you, this kid. But you are not allowed to do these things again, don't shame my Uchiha family." Zongxuan smiled disdainfully. "What is the use of empty words? I will compromise because of your words." Before he could say anything, he heard Fugaku say, "You have opened your eyes now, so the rewards within the clan are naturally indispensable. 1 million taels in cash. Choose a ninjutsu scroll within A rank. If there is no accident, it will be delivered to your home soon." Hearing this, Zongxuan smiled immediately. Empty words won't let him compromise, but you can add money. In many large clans, in order to encourage clansmen to make progress, there is naturally a system similar to scholarship. The same is true for the Uchiha family. The reward of 1 million taels is actually not much because the Uchihas who usually open their eyes are basically chunin. It is roughly equivalent to half a year's salary of chunin. On the other hand, the A-level ninjutsu is completely beyond the standard. Normally, unless it is the direct line of the patriarch or the elder, ordinary Uchiha people can get a B-level ninjutsu as a reward. B-level ninjutsu is enough to serve as Jonin's main fighting method and A-level ninjutsu as Jonin's trump card. Fugaku's attitude is obvious. Give you a reward, don't do this kind of shameful thing to the family next time. Don't worry, patriarch, I will learn my lesson. That's good. Fugaku smiled a little. Of course, Zongxuan also showed a little smile. Shanjai Jiraiya, for the sake of the patriarch's face money, of course he wouldn't do it. But I can write about other little princes, right? As long as there is no situation like Jiraiya comes over in person who knows which book I wrote. After all, it is impossible to ban the emperor, and it is impossible to ban the emperor in this life. Who made Xiao Huangshu's readers all talented? They speak nicely and pay bills generously. I like them very much. Yes, I am such a writer who loves readers. ... Sasuke seemed to have lost his soul and sat in a trance on the tatami. Sasuke. Sasuke. Sasuke, what's wrong with you? Sasuke was stunned only to see his mother Makoto looking at him with concern. He opened his mouth and wanted to talk about the Zongxuan family's problems. But after thinking about it, I decided to start from the beginning. Mother, I was defeated by one person. What is this? Come on, practice hard next time. Let him know what it means to not bully young poor. Makoto gently patted Sasuke on the shoulder in encouragement. But it also interrupted Sasuke's train of thought. Well, Zongxuan. He seems to be younger than me. Sasuke recalled Zongxuan seems to be 2 months younger than him. Then practice harder and catch up. Makoto thought for a while and said, when you are an adult you will surpass him. Let him know what it means to not bully middle-aged poor. But he practiced harder. Zongxuan's family background is very ordinary. He needs to solve the food and drink every day and he has to earn his own training expenses. When he becomes an adult he should be able to earn more money more easily, make up for his own consumption and have more time to practice, then it will be even harder for me to catch up. Sasuke's lips moved and being defeated by his peers made him a little depressed. If the talent is not enough he can work hard, and if the hard work is not enough he can work harder. But seeing that Zongxuan can defeat him with a poor attitude, it gives him a kind of, Zongxuan's talent is stronger than him but he works harder than him. What a catch! Even if he catches up in the future, can Sasuke really say, I beat you with my own efforts, with pride? Can't. The gap between the family backgrounds of the two sides is so large. How much advantage does he take? Relying on this kind of external factors to defeat the opponent, even if you win and you are as proud as him, you will not feel happy. Makoto blinked. She also understood the temperament of her own child and she didn't know what to say. After thinking about it for a long time, I finally squeezed out a sentence. Why don't you adjust your mentality and strive to live longer than him and don't bully the old and the poor? Sasuke. Mom. Just kidding. The other side. As soon as he walked out of the patriarch's house, Zongxuan happily waved at the cash he received. Recharge. The 1 million taels of paper money disappeared instantly and turned into a number on the system template. Then next, Zongxuan's eyes lit up. What should I add? Chapter 10, the new book, Intimacy and Violence, for collection for evaluation for flowers. Konoha. To spend for victory. Bootleg Paradise at the start. 10/164. Chapter 10, the new book, Intimacy and Violence, for collection for evaluation for flowers. Chapter 10, new book, Intimacy and Violence, for collection for evaluation for flowers. Zongxuan looked at the system template. Host. Uchiha Zongxuan. Age. 6 years old. Physical fitness. 30. Mental attributes. 42. Chakra attributes. Fire 21, Water 4, Wind 17, Thunder 3, Earth 2, Yin 98, Yang 5. Possess skills. 3. Body technique. 11. Uchiha Shuriken. 5. Konoha Fluid Technique. 2. Sharingan Double Hook Jade. 21. Multiple Shadow Clone. 0. Current Point Coupon. 100 points. In addition to the extra Sharingan, the spiritual attribute has increased by 12 points and the yin attribute has increased by a full 20 points. Probably the effect of opening Sharingan. Every Uchiha who has turned on Sharingan is a first-class genius. Just by looking at the interface you can see that a Sharingan can fully increase Zongxuan's spiritual attributes by 1/3 and Chakra's yin attributes by 1/4. Coupled with a few good ninjutsu, it is enough to make ordinary ninjas have the appearance of leapfrog challenge. Sure enough, it's the strongest bloodline limit in the ninja world of the Hanging family. It's not strong. As for the multiple shadow clone techniques, it is naturally an eye-opening reward. Although there are many advanced fire styles in the Uchiha family, there are various other escape techniques you can choose. But Zongxuan chose the multiple shadow clone technique without hesitation. After all, this is Naruto's strongest attack in the early stage plus a mid-term training hack. Even in the later stage there are also good uses. Just because I just read the ninjutsu scroll, the 0 point is displayed on the back. Zongxuan looked at the system interface with great interest. A few days ago he recharged his legacy only to get the 3-body technique at 11 o'clock and some basic attributes. He also roughly studied the meaning of numbers on the system. 10 points of basic attributes will add 1 point and 1 point of skills will add 1 point. And this, 10 points, represents the threshold of genin, the level of a civilian ninja who can't do anything except 3-body technique. He relied on his parents' inheritance to have a genin-level transformation technique. With this he changed his identity, went to the editor to open a new book and went to the bank to withdraw money. Otherwise no one cares about a 6-year-old child. And now the 100-point roll. Zongxuan thought for a while and added it to Sharingan first. As one of the 3 major pupil techniques in the ninja world, Sharingan has powerful abilities such as observation, replication and hypnosis. It is not only very practical but also full of potential. In Zongxuan's plan, turning on Mangekyo would give him some hope of turning the tables on the night of the genocide. He first rolled over 80 points and the attribute template was distorted for a while and finally became Sharingan 3 Go Jade. 101. Promoted. Zongxuan was overjoyed and found that the spirit attribute and yin attribute increased by 7 points and 13 points respectively. His spirit was shocked and his eyes were full of spirit. As if he had just woken up, he was full of energy. Looking at the mirror again, 3 Guyu were reflected full of evil.